Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm, of course, your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, the gang are back with Going for the One. We are, again, through the month of September, looking back at our favorite debut albums. And Ken is up with his next choice. Ken?
Thank you, boss. I am the one on the channel that I imagine over after about 100 and so videos that I am not a big fan of music past 1990. Um, the albums I like are very few and far between compared to the decades before. But I'm going to thrust us into 1990 today, January 15th in particularly, with the band
Barely.
from yeah, barely in the 90s. With the band from Reading, Berkshire in England. The band is called the Sundays, and the album is called Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic. This is a 10-track album, only clocking in at just slightly over 38 minutes. Released on Rough Trade Records in the UK and David Geffen in the US. This band feature is primarily the duo of Harriet Wheeler on vocals and David Gavurin, I believe that's correct, on guitar. Um, they only made three albums, and this band falls into categories. It's a dreamy but literate blend of indie pop, jangle pop, a lot of post Smiths melancholy. Harriet Wheeler's voice is very ethereal. It's very clean and pristine and wistful. It's often been compared to um, Elizabeth Fraser from the Cocteau Twins and Tracy Thorn from Everything But the
Mm.
Girl,
Ah.
even Edie Brickell of the New
Ooh,
Bohemians.
there's a name. Okay.
The band overall is very similar to sound to the Cardigans and Sixpence, None the Richer. It's kind of that little niche thing in there.
Okay.
Um, Wonderful jangly guitars that seem influenced by Johnny Marr. I don't always that doesn't always resonate with me, but I'm not a huge Smiths fan, so I don't know. The lyrics of these songs are very introspective. They're very clever. They're often biting, which is, that wonderful juxtaposition between, you know, rough lyrics or biting lyrics with those jangly, happy guitars. But yet it's always poetic. Um, this is a real feel good album for me. Actually, all three of their albums are. Um, I first heard them with the one of the two singles called "Here's Where the Story Ends," and it just absolutely grabbed me immediately when I heard it. Um, and I sought out the album. And we must remember this was before streaming and YouTube and where us old guys would buy vinyl, only familiar with one album. There was always, we were the gamblers of the day when we tried that.
Pretty
But I tell you
much.
what,
Pretty
this
much.
album this album did not disappoint. And it starts off with a wonderful starter called Skin and Bones. It's got one of the best closing songs, excuse me, called Joy, and all the stuff in between. It's for me, it's just really joyful. It's light, it's very melodic. Her voice is just amazing. The vocal work and the guitar work on this album is just wonderful. For me, this is a 10. This is a perfect album for me. And I 1990 and still to this day, I never tire of hearing it. Sometimes I'll put it on playing while I'm doing my work or something like that, and I don't get any work done after all. So it's just it's this is a joyful album.
It's a sign
The
of a good
Sundays,
album.
all three albums are wonderful, and this for a debut just knocks it out of the park. They retired after three albums. Wheeler and Gavarin are a couple, and I think after that they just decided they wanted to um, just go raise sheep and goats
Little
on a
Wheelers.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's my choice for today. I highly recommend it. It's on all platforms. Give it a
Yeah.
spin.
Okay, I've heard of the name the Sundays. I've never dove into their music. Bill Schuster has mentioned them quite a bit, and I do believe this is one of his favorite albums too.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So,
be surprised.
yeah.
Yeah, Ken, I think you described it, you know, too sweet, my friend. Yeah, just the bands that inspired them, and then the bands that followed. I think Mazzy Star and Sixpence None the Richer were definitely inspired by
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
Sundays did. Um, and yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic. If folks are familiar with the kind of shoegazy, ethereal cover of Wild Horses, that's the Sundays, and that's on the subsequent album Blind. But
yes,
all that goodness is established here on their debut, and yeah, plus one, brother. It
yeah.
is a great debut record.
Mm.
Okay, I need to check it out.
Absolutely. One of my favorites as well. And I think if Ken hadn't already gone for it, I would have had it on my list. I know it's not probably the most original of ideas to have about this band. I mean, when you hear them, it's the first thing that hits you, the names that Ken mentioned. But I kind of feel like he stole my line because I wanted to say that this band is the sound of.
And by the way, if you like it, go on YouTube. There's some fairly high definition videos on YouTube of their videos. And in addition to having a wonderful voice, Harriet Wheeler is just cute as a button.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean,
plus.
it's
Okay.
not the Madonna. It's like you know, your little sister kind of cute. She just, you know, very
She's adorable.
is adorable. Yeah.
I think every Sunday's video has a few of those my first crush and hearts and whatnot in the comments. It's a standard.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never checked out the band. I really have to check out the band.
Okay.
Yeah, I seriously, I've not listened to them. Or even
Well,
if they
this
were,
style isn't for everybody, but I certainly and
Right.
anybody that's watched two of our videos know I love
yeah,
jangly guitars.
yeah,
So,
true
and
enough.
Jim, you're right. Their cover of Wild Horses, I think, might be one of their hidden gems, and
Hmm.
a great example of some wonderful guitar work. But like I said, this album isn't their best. All three, I think, are very strong, um, especially the first two. Their third album brings in a little bit of brass in the background, and so they were expanding at that point. And then they said, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good choice.
I'll throw one other comment out there about this record.
Sure.
If folks are familiar with Roxy Music's Avalon, you know that that kind of has a vibe to it
A
that like
sheen, yeah.
no other album can touch, just in terms of the arrangements, the production, just how like you hear the first notes and you're like, yep, I know that's Avalon.
Yeah,
Sunday's Reading, Writing, Arithmetic is also in that vein where it's got that style where you hear it and you immediately know, okay, that's the Sundays.
yeah.
So it's an incredible record.
Okay, no,
Plus one again.
I definitely have to listen to it. Now that you use the Avalon comparison, I'm like, okay, now I have to listen to it for sure.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another episode of Going for the One. featuring the Sundays and reading, writing, and arithmetic. Thank you, Ken, for that pick.
Thank you.
Like I've said, I've heard of the group, and I'm sure the videos will play on Much Music, but I didn't pay too much attention at the time, and I probably should have. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, please put down in the comments below, again, your view on this album and any other albums that we may have missed that you feel is your favorite debut release. And also click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell again to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. So for Ken, Sagosh, and Jim, who are playing musical screens, they keep switching spots. I'm Armando signing off, and we'll be back with more episodes of Going for the One. Bye for now.